The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us today. We'll remind you to go to stewart.com/radio. That's right, if you want to hear this show again or any of the previous 416 shows, they're all right there with YouTube videos and everything at stewart.com/radio. And today marks our first edition of our Go Texan editions. That's right, you hear the music. And what does that mean? That means that when you tune into the YouTube video at stewart.com/radio, you'll see us in our Western wear, and who knows what else will happen. But right here in Houston, Texas, we celebrate the rodeo, and we like to have a little fun along the way right here in Houston, and of course on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. And it's about time to get down to business. The show begins right now as we welcome Cynthia Wolff with Beth Wolff Realtors. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, here you are. And of course, your company is called Beth Wolff Realtors. Let's tell people about your company.
Our company is a small boutique-style firm. It's locally owned and managed. And as far as I know, we're the only family-run real estate firm in the city of Houston.
In fact, your family, let's talk about your family right quick. Your mom, Beth Wolff, is certainly well known right here in Houston, and your brother, Ed, too.
Yes, my brother has a podcast on flood insurance, actually, and my mother had opened the company in 1978, and we'll be 44 years old this year.
Now, are we missing any family members, Cynthia?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Just
now,
the three of us.
Since you mentioned the podcast on flood insurance, let's tell people a quick word why he is such an expert on flood insurance, because there's a good reason. He knows a lot about it.
He does. He flooded 3 times in the Tax Day flood, the Memorial Day flood, and in Harvey. And his house is now raised 6 feet off the ground.
And I remember that when all that was happening, my home flooded in Harvey too. But when I thought about Ed's house, and he was on the show years ago talking about it, but it's interesting. He had the mindset to stay in the house. I mean, a lot of people, I sold my flooded house, but Ed decided, hey, I like where I live. And he raised it up and kept going forward, just like a true Houston pioneer.
He did. And he has won some awards for raising his house and was on a Rice home tour.
So right now, let's tell you, his home has not flooded anymore, because I always worry when it's raining for all of our homes. But
no, he has not flooded again.
Well, we say hello to Ed and to your mom, Beth.
Thank you.
In the meantime, let's tell people a little bit more about your company. And you recently kind of came back from afar. Let's tell people about that, too.
We are a very unique company. I have a legal background. I'm a licensed attorney in Louisiana and in Texas. When I was in Louisiana, I was in the title business and also was in-house counsel for a bank. I mainly handled large commercial transactions. My mother, as you know, has been in the business since actually 1974 and then opened the company in 78. And my brother's been working with her since the early 90s, and he's a certified international property specialist. We feel like we can serve the diverse needs of the community in Houston, and we are third-generation Houstonians. Our families came here in the 1800s.
1800s?
1800s.
That's before air conditioning.
Yes, before air conditioning. We've been changing with the times, and I think that's how we have been successful throughout the years. Right now, we're getting ready to reconfigure our offices to support agents in a post-pandemic world. Our office works as a team. We team up with our agents and help them, advise them, with my brother knowing a lot about flood insurance and then my background, together with my mother's background on the Planning Commission. And she served almost every mayor. Sylvester Turner's the only one she hasn't been on a committee with since Mayor Kathy Whitmire in the early 80s.
I remember that, yeah. So as far as, and as a Houstonian, you've been here a long time, you know the area, but also recently you were telling me you were in Colorado. Let's talk a little bit about that and maybe the differences in real estate that you have observed between these two markets, Houston, Texas, and Colorado. What's going on over there?
Well, Colorado's been rather active. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of Colorado as well as the state of Texas. I was living there full-time after being a part-time resident. I moved back here during the pandemic to be with my mom. Didn't intend to be here permanently at the time, and it just evolved into my reactivating my real estate license in Texas. I had gone inactive in the 90s. I got my real estate license before I was out of high school. Colorado has been a hot market, as has Houston. When the pandemic hit, inventory has gone to all-time lows nationally.
In both places, right?
In both places.
Well, actually everywhere, but yeah.
Yes, and properties are in many multiple offer situations. It has been interesting to watch. Right now, nationally, we are at 1.8 months inventory. And in Houston, the second lowest month of inventory was this January at 1.4 months inventory.
As a realtor, let's say you're serving someone right here in Houston, where you're practicing right now. And I want to talk about a little bit about buying homes in Colorado. A lot of people love to have homes there. They have homes and want to have homes. But as far as helping people right now buying in the Houston market, it makes it difficult, I would think, as a realtor to be selling something when you don't have enough product. How are you helping buyers with that challenge, and how do you see that problem affect, or that situation affect your realtors in your office and even yourself as you're out there trying to find homes when there's not enough of them?
Well, we're reaching out to neighborhoods where we've got buyers who have interest but can't find the product they want. I've also had a number of realtors reach out to me to hold my listings open who aren't in our company because they want to try to find buyers and maybe somebody who's selling their house. It's been an interesting time. In Colorado, it's the same issue. I've got clients that I work with who actually live here and are looking for a second home there, and they can't find what they're looking for either.
It's a whole frustrating mess, it sounds like. So how do we get people through that? I mean, I think at this point in time, for the real estate professional, that's an extra challenge for you and for a lot of people involved in the process. So you have to, I guess, be more patient and whatever else.
You definitely have to be more patient. You have to be strategic if you end up in a multiple offer situation and talk to your clients about the realities. You also have to have your clients advise them that they need to be ready to move if they're buyers, like have all of their documentation together as well as their pre-approval letter, and really have to be ready to submit a contract potentially at 11 o'clock at night after your clients have seen a property that evening.
And it's true. Realtors work around the clock now more than ever. All right, let's talk about the part where here in Houston, many people love to have homes in Colorado, so you can help them right now with your knowledge of Houston and Colorado. But the reverse, are there any people in Colorado wanting second homes in Houston? Just curious.
I haven't run into that as much. No. I have a couple of friends whose children are in school in Texas. They're in college, and so they are looking for properties mainly in Dallas and Austin.
Kind of does work both ways. But as far as Colorado, that is a nice place to have a second home. Give us a little idea what it's like, and where did you live when you were out there?
I was in Crested Butte, Colorado. My property is currently under contract,
you sold
closing
your house
in March.
There, yeah.
I just sold it. The market has been really good. And to give you an example of properties there, in Crested Butte and Mount Crested Butte, I ran the active properties on the market last week, and there were 41. That was it. And a number of those, about 8 of them, were in actually condominiums in a hotel. So they were $350,000 and under, and essentially it was a hotel room with a kitchenette. So the properties range in price up to about $12 million right now.
That's amazing.
And they jumped from $350,000 to the next lowest price was $850,000 to $12 million.
And speaking of Colorado real estate, we know they have a state income tax in Colorado, but what are their property taxes like? Because that's such an issue here as we think about Houston. But what's the property taxes like, say, in Colorado for that? Make it an even number. Let's say it's a $500,000 home. Do you have an idea?
There are very few of those. at this point, but they're running about $2,000 for a $500,000 home.
That's nice.
It's very nice.
That sounds pretty good to me.
You might want to buy in Colorado.
So there you go. So in the meantime, let's talk about the marketplace now. As far as sellers, as you're serving the buyers and sellers, give us a word how you're advising. Let's say the sellers right now, they say, hey, Cynthia, and we're talking with Cynthia Wolff with Beth Wolff Realtors right here in Houston. They say, Cynthia, I want to list my house here in Houston. How do you coach them through the process the way it is here?
The first thing I do is look at the area, look at the comparables that have sold in the area, and I provide the sellers with a general overview of the area. And then I pick a few properties that are most comparable to their product. And we talk about how to price the home. Because there's such low inventory, we, of course, can be more aggressive with price. The question is, how aggressive do you want to be? How quickly do you want to sell? I find that sellers are wanting to be fairly aggressive. We get it listed, and I give them a range of value and say, if you want to sell it in 30 days, this is what I think it would take. If you want to sell it in 60 to 90 days, we can price it higher. Just know that in a few weeks, we'll be potentially reducing it.
And whatever it is, you better be ready to move because we don't know what's going to happen, right?
And we could price it in the 60 to 90 day price range, and you get an offer or two offers or three in a weekend. I priced something aggressively last month, and it was under contract in a day.
That's amazing, isn't it? How long is this going to last, Cynthia? Do you have the crystal ball with you?
I do not have the crystal ball.
Which we knew.
I do read and keep up with what the predictions are, and even though interest rates are inching up this year, they're going to continue. We're going to continue to have a lot of sales because the interest rates are not going to be what they were in the 80s. And as long as people can realize that, and that's the other conversation that I have with my buyers, that yes, you're going to pay a little more in interest this year, but it's still not significant compared to what the rates were 30 years ago.
And if we take just a cross section of, let's say, the last 10 buyers that you've served, how many of them have been cash offers or cash buyers?
Probably 2.
There you go.
People are still borrowing money. It's rare that people can spend the cash.
So give us an idea. We have about 2 minutes left. What else do you want people to know about what you're doing here in Houston, Texas, or Colorado, or at Beth Wolff Realtors? One
of the things I wanted to talk about with Beth Wolff Realtors is I believe we have good customer service. In 2020, we won the Pinnacle Award from the Better Business Bureau for exceptional customer service. And we recently had a 100% satisfaction rating from our corporate mobility clients. We do a lot of relocation and work with a lot of people moving to Houston. We have people who specialize in all areas of the city.
And Cynthia, let's also tell people how they can reach out to you and your company and the website for the company.
The website for the company is www.bethwolff.com. And you can reach me at cynthia@bethwolff.com. And my phone number is 970-901-8184.
Sounds like a Colorado prefix on there that you have. Is it?
It is.
So people can give you a call, 970-901-8184. One quick word. As far as the people with relocation, your company does a lot with relocation as well. And, of course, it's a cliche. We hear about it. All these people coming from Colorado, from California. Where else do you see them coming from?
Well, they're really coming from all over. We've got some folks coming in from New Jersey currently because there's a big company relocating here. Mainly, though, people are coming from California.
You're just going to say it, aren't you?
I am.
Hey, just for what it's worth, I was at a restaurant this weekend, and I met someone that was from Gary, Indiana, that just got here. So there's a new one on me. So, real estate buying or selling, Cynthia Wolff, you're there to help, right?
That's correct.
The phone number again is?
970-901-8184.
970-901-8184. And we say, on behalf of Stewart Title, Stewart Insurance, Bill and John and the whole crew, we say hi to your mom and Ed and everybody there at Beth Wolff Realtors.
Thank you.
It's a super family company.
Thanks for having me.
All right, it's time to talk money as we welcome our next guest. He is Matt Robertshaw with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill. I appreciate you.
Well, here you are. It's money time to talk, and we have to have money to buy the homes when we don't want to If we don't have the cash or we don't want to use our cash, we can get a loan with a company like yours, Fairway Independent Mortgage. Tell us about your company.
Well, Fairway Independent Mortgage has been around since 1996. We were started out of from a guy up in Minnesota. We've been around, just started out. We're not a corporate company. We are all privately owned, not traded on Wall Street. So that's one of the big things nowadays with all the guys, going. They want to hit the stock market and strike it rich on their stocks, but we tend to stay true to our what we do best. You can be a jack of all trades or a master of none. One of the things that we do best is we do loans, so that's what we're doing. We're not in the stock market type of thing. So
it's funny you mentioned the stock market. Things change from minute to minute, day to day. By the time people hear the show, all I know is stocks are on sale right now.
They are. Yes, they are.
It's kind of one of the only things on sale. In the meantime, let's tell people, as far as the challenges, I mentioned earlier about real estate professionals. I'm a buyer. I'm out there. I'm getting frustrated. I'm putting in offers. Sometimes I'm putting in offers above the list price, and I still don't get the deal, right?
Yes.
So if I'm a person with a loan with your company and you're helping these people, you see your buyers that fill out the loan application, but yet it's hard for them to buy, so it has to be also extra work for the mortgage company. I don't know, is it?
It's 100% extra work. It's, but that's, it's nothing worth having is worth, doing halfway. So one of the big things we like to do over at Fairway is we have a thing called the Fairway Advantage program. And what we do is we get them through the whole process from start, not through finish, but we at least get them through the underwriting process that we're sending out, buyer letters to people like Cynthia, and they are fully underwritten. They're conditionally approved. We need contract, appraisal, title, and insurance, and we're ready to rock and roll. This allows us to be super competitive. It allows our real estate agents that work with us to be super competitive. In a market like you were talking about earlier, with all the extra offers, the cash offers, it's not always good to go with cash. Money's cheap, even though it's still at 4% rates or, high threes. Money's still cheap, so why not try and focus on being able to use someone else's money to make money? But by doing so, you have to be able to be ready so that you can be competitive, so that you can, if you're offering over ask price, that we have the ability to still move at a very quick pace because, as in the real estate market, everyone wants to close as fast as possible, close in 3 days and fund the day before you even started applying. So it's kind of fun.
As far as the different types of loans, I know all companies have different types. How do we know which type of loan? Is that part of the consultation if I'm coming to you and say, hey, Matt, I need a loan to buy a house? How do I know what kind of loan to get? I guess I'm not a veteran, but you serve veterans, of course. Yes. But give us a word on some of these different types.
So, and I'm actually a veteran myself. So,
thank you for your service. With what branch?
With the Army, 82nd Airborne, sir. Jumped out of airplanes like an idiot. What? So
you're jumping out of planes, huh?
I was jumping out of planes.
How many times?
I had 33 jumps.
Wow.
So I called my mom and I'm like, Mom,
glad you're here.
You just don't understand how exhilarating it was. And she's like, well, I'm just happy that you made it. So, but to your question, it's all about education. We do this on a regular basis. Title companies do what they do on a regular basis. Real estate agents do what they do on a regular basis. And if I work with an engineer, a cook, that's what they do on a regular basis. But we're the expert for them. We're there to educate them and lead with that education to make sure that they know that what they're getting into, they're knowledgeable about what they're getting into. If they have questions, we're able to answer them along the way. And not just at that beginning part, it's throughout the process. They may want to change their ways as they see a house that they want to offer a little more than asking price. We have that ability to kind of tailor those loan programs and basically the loan setup, if you will, to where they can afford that higher price home, maybe outside of what they initially thought they were going to do, if that makes sense. Give
us an idea what happens with the determination. Do I put 10% down, 20%? Do I go with a 15-year loan? 30? Well, what's happening there?
So, it's really, there's no right or wrong answer for every single person. My whole idea is that, as we go along in history, appreciation over time is, it's roughly 4% average over time. Over the last 18 months, we've seen year-over-year appreciation at 18 to 20%. Here in Houston, to 18%. Across the country, we've seen some areas up in over 25%. If you're going to get, let's just say it's 5% appreciation, would you rather put in 5% of your own money to get that 5%? Or would you rather put in 20% of your own money to get that 5%? It's a matter of making your money work for you and not for the lender. If you can keep some of that money liquid, because once you put it in the house, it's in there. You got to get another loan to take it back out. So it's about trying to figure out a way to, again, you have to educate the borrowers. We've got to educate all parties to the transaction and make sure that it's the right thing to do monetarily. There's lots of different ways to skin a cat, basically.
How often are you seeing first-time buyers and or people that they say, hey, Matt, we're in an apartment right now, either myself or me and my wife or whatever, my spouse. We are in an apartment. We want to move to a home. How often are you seeing that first-time buyer?
I mean, it is crazy right now.
Does that mean a lot?
It's a lot. I mean, it is absolutely a lot.
Out of 10 loans, how many are first-time?
Probably 7 or 8 or so right now, because, and one of the big things about me is that
7.
Yeah, it's a lot. What we're seeing right now is, and it's really just a matter of looking back at history. The average age that someone buys their first home right now is age 33 to 35 years old. So it just takes a matter of looking back 33 to 35 years ago, which back in the late 80s. And if you look at the housing birth rates, I mean, we were on an absolute rise from 86 through 90. So we're seeing more and more of those people hit the market every single day. They're wanting to get in their first house, and we're torn because we have no inventory. We looked, if you look at the numbers we had last month in January, across the nation, we had 860,000 homes for sale. 860,000. That's it. In America, we have over 1.2 million real estate agents. So take that in consideration.
Half of them are in Houston. No.
Yes. But there's more real estate agents out there than there are homes to sell. So when you start thinking about that whole supply and demand thing,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. And these first-time home buyers, they're almost getting pushed out, but we have the ability to at least educate them and put them in a good situation where we can make sure that they are postured properly for a good offer on a home using a good real estate agent and making sure everyone knows what's going on.
So let's say there's somebody out there that is renting and maybe they're listening to the show, they're inspired, they were thinking about buying a home. Preparation is so important for the real estate adventure of finding a place, number one. But as far as what do you recommend people to do to prepare so that they're ready from the financial standpoint? When should they call you if they're in that apartment? Let's say they got 3 months left in their lease and they're like, man, after this, I want to buy a home. When should they call you, Matt Robertshaw?
They should be calling me immediately. Like, it should be the first call. We do that because we find out early that they are ready, or we find out that they're not ready, Bill. They could not be ready, but at least if we know what we're working with now, we know how to dodge, what do you call it? Bob and weave around, around anything. Zigzags. Yeah, absolutely. So we know what we need to do to posture them so we can send them back over to their real estate agent to make sure, one, that the real estate agents, they're busy too, right? Everyone's time is the most valuable thing to them. So if we can get them postured and ready to go, it creates a much more happy experience, not just for the real estate agent who's helping them. For the buyer, it's their first time. For the seller, we want to make sure that they're happy that someone's buying their house and they know they're going to get money in the end. It's just a matter of the first call should always be your lender. Start early, prepare early, call Matt Robertshaw. Right before the show, before I got here, I'm a little slow today. I ate a giant breakfast, and as I talked to the guy helping me, he said, I just bought a home. I said, really? Side note, he closed at Stewart Title at 2925 Richmond. But anyway, I said, well, how was the real estate process? He says, as I work in the restaurant industry, and he also works at another restaurant of fine dining at night, he says it's a little harder for me to get the mortgage, but I got it because of the restaurant work and the getting tips and things like that. So everybody comes from a different place. So they have to have the right things for their particular situation. So something like that where someone has tips that fluctuate or income that fluctuate, that's a whole different story. It's a whole different story. And again, that's another reason why you want to get in touch with your lender early, because every single time that you are, in every different situation, even though every lender they all follow the same guideline. It's a matter of working with someone who's been in the business, who knows how to navigate the waters that you're on, and make sure that you can deal with things like tip income, or if you're commission income. I talk to real estate agents and I tell them, hey, you need to be thinking 2 years ahead. Always thinking 2 years ahead, because as self-employed people, we get a chance to write everything off, and then all of a sudden 2 years later you want to buy a house and I didn't make any money because I wrote it all off. So
And you also get the opportunity to make millions and millions
Yes,
of
they
dollars,
do.
just like every real estate professional out there right now,
Yes.
driving around in luxury cars, selling multi-million-dollar homes. Before we close the segment, Matt, another minute, what else do you want people to know?
You know, one of the big things about Fairway is that we just love to lead with education. So whether you're on your first house, or you're on your next move-up house, or maybe you're getting ready to spend some money. We're getting ready to go Texans, so maybe you're looking for that ranch, or you've been watching Yellowstone a little bit, just like I have. If you want to get out there and kind of posture yourself for the final house venture with your spouse, the biggest thing is about leading with education, and Fairway just loves education. So if you need anything, I'm happy to work out with that.
Actually, I've been rewatching Breaking Bad. Let's tell people how they can reach out to you, Matt Robertshaw with Fairway Mortgage.
You can reach me on my website at mattrobertshaw.com. That's www.mattrobertshaw.com. You can also reach me on my cell phone at 281-889-0403 or at matt.robertshaw@fairwaymc.com. matt.robertshaw@fairwaymc.com.
Give them a call at 281-889-0403. Thanks for being on the show, Matt.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's great to be here.
And one of the most popular things happening all around the nation, and as far as low inventory or of homes and everything else, if we're going to stay in our home, if we're going to flip the home, whatever, many cases we're remodeling. Remodelers are as busy as real estate agents. We have one of the top remodelers right here in Houston, Texas. His name is Ismael Morales. His company is Ismael Remodeling. Ismael, welcome to the show.
Hello, Bill. I'm happy to be here.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Happy to see you. And also, I'll tell people, you did some work for me recently, and I can't tell you, it was just incredible. So we'll get to that in a bit. But first of all, let's tell people about your company, Ismael Remodeling.
Yes, sir. So pretty much what we do is bottom to top, or top to bottom, however you want to do it. Our slogan is make your idea a reality. So pretty much whatever people comes out, tearing down walls, removing tile, redoing bathrooms, kitchens, floorings, roofing, windows, doors, anything you can think of. All I say to my clients, everything's possible.
And as far as because you're in demand. I mean, I know that. I was lucky to have you on the job, thanks to Juliana, told me about you. When I talk to you, you have like how many jobs going on at a time? 6, 7 or so?
That's correct. We usually have between 5 and 6 jobs and at a time, and it's hard to keep up, but I have to keep up every day. Talking to my guys, talking to my clients, being in contact is really important. Having everybody on the same page every day with text messages, calls, anything that can help us to go through every day.
And geographically speaking, as people hear this show, certainly they're hearing on the internet outside of Houston, Texas, and other states and so forth. But here in Houston, how big an area do you cover? Because you can only go so far.
That is correct.
I know I live in the Katy area, so you're doing Katy. Tell us about the areas that you serve.
We pretty much do every, let's say,
Cypress,
the Woodlands, Katy, Sugarland. We're doing mainly we're doing Cypress, and we are doing actually Galleria as well, which we are in Galleria right now, and we're doing Memorial, and let's say about 10 to 15 minutes outside Beltway 8, but mainly north side of Houston.
That keeps you pretty busy, and of course, as we have the first edition of our Go Texans shows, you're wearing a cowboy hat like I am, but you always wear yours.
Yes, sir.
That's one of your trademarks. When you come to the house, you put it by the door. It's like a whole thing. I like that, and I know others do. As far as remodeling jobs, there's so many things that your expertise. You're building decks, your bathrooms, kitchens. What's the most popular top 2 things that people are asking for and that you're doing right now?
Kitchens and bathrooms.
There you go. That's what they say, because they say if you put your money in those things, right,
Correct.
You're going to get it back.
Exactly.
That's what you told me, and I'm like, I hope so.
Oh, you are. I promise you. I promise you that.
One of the interesting things you remodeled a master bath, and I know especially like I live in the Green Trails areas. These homes are built in 1993. There's places in Houston, the Heights and so forth, where homes are built a long time ago. They've been remodeled several times. But the interesting thing is, like in the master bath that needed work at my house, it was interesting. You went in there that first day and took everything out in an organized way. I mean, down to the 2x4s.
To the studs, yes, sir.
It was interesting to see that and how that worked with your crew.
Correct.
You do that on a daily basis.
Exactly.
I was like, I went into the bathroom at the end of the day when all the things were removed. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's really easy when you do this kind of things every day. So it's kind of a pattern. We tell the guys first day we're going to cover up, put plastic all over, double plastics on furniture, so whenever we remove the top plastic, don't get the furniture full of dust. So little things like that are daily basis for every one of my crew. And then the demo day is the most likely day for everybody if they want to demo things. Like, we're good at that. But we're good at other things too as well.
Well, the interesting thing, I will tell people right up front, one of the unique things, I had looked at other people through the year. It was like a year project for me to find a remodeler. And I had people come in, and I mentioned this to you, but I'll tell the listeners, remodelers are in such demand that I had a couple guys come in, they took the measurements, pictures, and all that. And I'm like, I never got a quote from them. I even texted, hey, where's that quote? Never heard back. So I ended there. But the point with your company and with you as an individual, you returned every call promptly. You returned every text promptly, almost like a true professional. And I'm not exaggerating. And in this day and age, where mediocrity in many cases rules, you guys were phenomenal. You were phenomenal to be able to communicate. If I had a concern, you addressed it. Jorge, I had a plumbing thing that was out of the blue. Here comes Jorge, the plumber, and he takes care of it like that.
Yes, Bill. Like I said, communication is basic for everything. And I love that.
People don't know that, though. That's why you're busy.
I do. I do it. I tell my guys, please communicate. Anything that happens, Jorge, Leslie, Ismael, Pedro, everybody, if you see something, if the client needs something, please text, communicate. Let me know what's going on so I know, clients know, and everybody's on the same page.
And just like we were talking about with mortgage, getting money, being prepared, looking for real estate, preparation is so important. I have to take this opportunity. You have individuals with your company that are top-notch. They showed up on time at 8 o'clock, 7:45. They're at my house. They were there before I wanted them there, ready to work. And when they came in, they worked. They began. They didn't mess around. They actually worked. But the first person to enter the house, I think, was Leslie, who handles the preparation. And when I say that, she covers all the things for the dust, the floors, the traffic areas that are going to be worn and in and out with different workers, the plumber, the carpenter, the counter guys, the mirror guys, the shower. I mean, I had a host. It was like a movie set with all these different characters. But Leslie laid the groundwork and prepared that in a way where it was every edge was crisp, clean, cut. I mean, she's amazing to watch, as all the people are.
Correct.
She's listening to the show right now, isn't she?
She will. I'm sure. I'll tell everybody, all my clients.
I mean, Jorge, the carpenter, I was totally impressed, as you can tell. And to have a crew, how do you find people that are at the top of the realm? Because right now it's hard to find people in anything, but you seem to have a pretty good handle and a harmony amongst the crew.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part for everybody in the industry, especially now that everybody's busy. So it's hard to find good people. It's hard to find people like me, like you said. And it's your words, not my words.
That's exactly right.
But what I tell my guys usually, and when we're taking any job, big jobs or small jobs, is the money. We'll talk about the money. I tell the guys all the time, every time the client gives me a check and I take it to the bank, it never bounces. So just make sure your job doesn't bounce either. Make sure your job, its quality as the quality of the money they're paying us with.
So when the job's done, you don't have to go back there 5 times to fix work that wasn't done right the first time. Do it right the first time, right?
Exactly.
Is what you're saying.
We measure twice and cut once. We try to make sure that call is because you need something else, not you're calling us because you need us to go back and fix something we already did.
So you're covering the inside of the house, bathrooms, kitchens, flooring. Let's talk a little bit about the outside of the house. You never did any work on the outside yet on my house, but you're also helping people with outside paved stones and decking and painting and stuff. Talk a little bit about what you do there, Ismael.
We do all the way from, like I said, bottom to top. We do concrete driveways, decking in backyards. We do patio covers as well. We do windows replacing. We do roofing. And we do the same thing. We cover up everything everywhere we're going to walk through. We, if we do damage the grass, because you can't really fly when you're walking on the exterior of the house, we replace that if it's needed at the end. Because we mainly cover up everything. Windows, we cover up windows with plywood when we're replacing roofs. And same thing with driveways. It's a little more messy, but we try to make sure that it actually looks better than when we got there, when we finish.
And we've said this or implied this at least. You've been very busy. When did that busyness start?
2016.
So since 2016.
Before Harvey.
So, well, I guess Harvey was a whole nother thing, too.
That was crazy, yeah.
So you have, and of all the things you could be doing, you're running this company, I think you told me about 12, 13 years right now.
Correct.
But you could be doing a lot of things. What is it about? Why did you choose this? This is hard work. You're changing, you're taking chances, you're ripping out things, you're building new things. What is it about this construction and remodeling that you love?
That's plenty of things, but the main one that I love is seeing the happiness of my clients at the end of the project. See how they love the process and how they love the final product that we deliver, and see their comments on the Facebook pages of the neighborhoods, and seeing all their texts saying, "Please call Ismael. He did a remodel in our house, and we love it." That's amazing. I love being able to help people out pretty much.
And I'm sure you like the before and after, too.
Of course.
And the thing that you have advantage in terms of, especially like the homeowner, like me or anyone else, I'm looking at the thing saying, here's how I think I want it, but I'm a little worried. I don't know what it's going to really look like. But you look at it and say, hey, man, I know it's going to be great because I know what's involved in taking it out and what happens when everything's removed or if you're building something from the ground up, right?
Correct. It's really easy for us. Well, for me, since I do it every day, it's I used to tell my clients, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, but worry about this and that. For example, colors, I'll let you know exactly when I need this. I'll let you know exactly when I need that. And it's really easy. It's really easy process when there's communication throughout.
Before we close the segment, what else do you want people to know?
I want them to give us a call if they have any new ideas for their houses, tearing down walls, removing tile, removing kitchen. We can build anything.
Secret rooms, too.
That's
our next project.
Correct.
I got a secret room I want to build.
Panic rooms and all that.
Let's tell people how they can reach you. Ismael Morales, Ismael Remodeling.
832-267-2204. 832-267-2204.
Give him a call at 832-267-2204. He'll do a tremendous job. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Will, for having me. I really appreciate this.
Tell Leslie hi.
I will tell all the guys hi.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance. With a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers, Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is with Stewart Insurance, John Bramblett. John, welcome back.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Once again, boy, what a show today, huh? Interesting things all the way around.
I tell you what, the education we get on Real Estate Matters is head and shoulders above anything else that people can find out about the real estate market, not only in Houston, but across the U.S.
It's really true. And the good thing is that if someone is outside of Houston, Texas, they can hear the show wherever they're at, anywhere in the world.
Well, exactly right. And one of the things that I always benefit from it is beyond just the specifics about real estate or the different segments within real estate that our guests represent, but just some good business practices. I mean, we learned that today about communication and following up and setting expectations. All just excellent reminders about how we ought to conduct ourselves, both professionally and personally.
In fact, one of the ones I'll just reiterate is I'm a stickler on do what you say you're going to do. Whatever it is. I mean, don't say, if you're not going to do it, don't say it. I mean, hey, let's have lunch. Okay. Well, if I say that, I feel like I'm going to call that person for lunch. And if they say no, okay, fine. But little things are important. So as far as insurance, that's no little thing. You always have important things about that too.
Well, we've talked about that there's really three ways that Stewart Insurance can help our clients and our clients' clients. Education through life learning. So, we aspire both internally and externally to recommend that folks continue to learn through life and evolve through life learning. growth, help you grow your business through efforts like Real Estate Matters. And then, how you can minimize your risk with the appropriate insurance plan, whether it be for you, for your business, or for your clients. But today I really kind of wanted to talk about, from the educational perspective, in general, some of the ways that we can help our clients, but specifically around our continuing education classes.
And that's a great thing because you're helping real estate professionals all over Houston, even working sometimes with our Stewart Title business development people.
Absolutely. So, from a broad perspective, we can help on just kind of a business insurance overview. We have a course that just kind of gives you a real top-line feel for what the different business plans are and what you might consider. We do a home insurance for first-time buyers. So here's some specific things within a home policy if you're a first-time buyer that you ought to take a look at and consider. Make sure that you at least understand so you can make a better decision, and as we always talk about, being properly insured. And then we have a talk that we've recently developed on cyber and what are some of the threats about cyber and what are the ways that you can minimize those threats. But today I really wanted to talk about and focus on the 3 CE classes that we have to offer.
And number one is
real estate liability, reduce your risk, and protect your license. So in that class, what are the factors that could lead to a liability claim? How do you avoid those factors so that you don't have, whether it be as an individual or as a company, a liability claim? And then what insurance can you use or can you consider that could potentially offset some of those exposures? So it's a 3-hour class. And some of the things that the folks in real estate, whether you're buying and selling or you're representing a buyer or seller, that can affect and potentially increase a liability risk would be the property condition and history. So, what condition is the property? If it's in bad condition, you've got a better chance for a claim versus being a brand new home, potentially. Or if it's flooded in the past, you've got a potential for a claim that maybe you wouldn't have had it if the home had not flooded. Are we in areas of specific hazards? Are you representing clients in areas that have a lot of tornadoes or mudslides or hurricanes or floods? So that can affect potential liability options. Business relationships, are you recommending people that you truly haven't vetted? That can put you at risk. How do you manage the information that you're taking in? How do you manage the information that you hold? People's social security numbers and bank accounts and addresses and dates of birth. How are you communicating electronically? And then how do you utilize social media? Those can all affect potential liability issues.
So many things to think about.
Absolutely. The second class is a 2-hour class called Property Insurance Essentials for Real Estate Professionals. And in this class, we provide some insight on the real estate transaction from an insurance company's perspective. So not necessarily from a buyer or seller, but how does an insurance company look at real estate transactions? What are the different residential insurance plans that are out there, and where do they come into effect, and how do they come into effect? And then how does your buying and selling decisions potentially could affect the impact on your insurance? So, if it's a homeowner occupied piece of property versus a tenant occupied, versus a vacant home, if it's construction, reconstruction, or renovation, some of the things that Ismael could do for us. If it's demolition or vacant land, those all have different residential considerations and different residential policies to consider.
And I wonder what number 3 is.
Number 3 is your favorite, the 2 sides of water.
The 2 sides of water.
The 2 sides
that.
of water.
Yeah.
So we take a look at the 2 sides of water, their water damage.
You were saving that for the end.
I was saving that for you just in the end, exactly. It's important knowing what the difference of the 2 are and what insurance plans come into play for those 2. And also then, especially in those 2, it's really important to understand the details, because there are some very specific things that may or may not come into coverage with each of those plans. It is important to understand that. So those are both 2-hour classes. And we offer and we're able to give CE credits for real estate brokers and realtors and realists throughout the state of Texas. So I can do the classes in person. I can do the classes online in live coverage.
So somebody in Dallas?
Amarillo, absolutely. But also if you're outside of the state of Texas and one of those classes has an interest for you, we'd be happy to teach the class as well. You just wouldn't get credit for it.
So if you're in Colorado.
In Colorado, exactly right. If one of Ms. Wolff's clients would like to have us come and speak on their behalf, we'd be happy to set up a Zoom call or a Teams call and share that information just as an educational tool for the realtors, the realists.
How about we get on the corporate jet and we just fly out there into the ski chalet somewhere and conduct it at the condo?
Well, did you get your jet back? I know you're having some upgrades done. Is it in the shop? Okay, well, when your jet comes back, we'll be sure to hop in.
We'll work on it.
Yes.
So that sounds exciting. And we want to tell people, though, also, you're right here, as you said, you can help people right here in Houston, Zoom or otherwise, but you're helping, again, if the real estate brokers out there listening, they say, hey, I want to have John come over and talk about one of these 3 classes, no problem, right? They just call you.
Not at all. Just give me a shout. We'll make it work. We've got the ability to, as I said, it's always better in person because of the interaction with the folks in the class, and there's always great conversations, and that brings up more talk, and there's always something that comes up that I might not be aware of, but we always find the answer for them. But we've done classes. I've done a class standing on a bus, so doing it Zoom or via Teams or in person is easy.
That sounds great. In fact, so many options there, and the resources that you have available. I mean, when people work with you, you have a lot of the answers. You're conducting the classes, but the team at Stewart Insurance is awesome as far as the knowledge that you have there with May and Will and Tom Carpentier, even Sigmund. They're doing tremendous work. They are data banks of knowledge in specific areas that you can just call upon like that.
Absolutely. We've got a fantastic team on the personal line side that can help with your home and your auto, your wind, your flood, motorcycle, vacant land, vacation property. We have a fantastic team that's really detailed, knowledgeable, and because we're an independent broker, they have access to a variety of companies that can allow us to find the right kind of coverage for your needs. And on the business side, as you mentioned with Will and Sigmund and Tom and all of our commercial lines and business lines advisors, they can help our real estate brokers with their business insurance. They can help title and attorney agents with their business insurance and property managers with their business insurance. And they're all, ready to help, make sure that you are properly insured.
Before we close this segment, anything else you want people to know, John?
Well, if they'd like to be properly insured, we'd be happy to help them. They can reach us at 866-798-2827. If you'd like to have an opportunity to talk about maybe a possibility of being a guest on Real Estate Matters, please let me know at 866-798-2827. Or if you'd like one of the classes we talked about, whether it's a CE class or a class that I can offer the CE for, or just some of the general insurance classes that I mentioned, we'd be happy to schedule a time to do that as well. And that you can reach us at 866-798-2827.
Let's say someone's in Colorado, they have one of those $350,000 condos that since the show has aired, it's now $400,000. If they want insurance
with the kitchenette,
kitchenette, let's say they want insurance on that condo in Colorado, you can help there too.
Absolutely, we can help with that insurance in Colorado as well.
What about their snowmobile?
Absolutely, we can help with the snowmobile,
watercraft, snowmobiles, all
so
that
when
stuff.
they have the $300 or now the $400,000 hotel room with the kitchenette, but they bought that so they could keep the snowmobile and the watercraft, and we can help with all 3.
I know you're a fan of Kenny and Ziggy's. Have you been to the new location?
I have not.
I was there this morning. I'm stuffed. We'll go there sometime. Thank you, John Bramblett. The phone number again is
866-798-2827. 866-798-2827.
Well, as we wrap up the show, I always say stay close to your Stewart Title Business Development Officer. We have one right here, one of our newest one. He is Kevin Davidson right there in Sugar Land. Hey, Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
Kevin, you always have things going on in Sugar Land. You're new to the company, but you're tearing it up already. Let's tell people one quick word about the office that you cover.
I cover Sugar Land and Richmond. There's 2 offices in Fort Bend County, and currently we have a couple of events coming up, March 10th and a book drive in the entire month of March.
And people can reach you by looking at the Stewart website, but let's tell people your phone number. You, Kevin Davidson, right there helping and working in a tremendous way, 24/7.
832-654-0527. 832-654-0527.
There you go, Kevin Davidson. He's coming on the show in a couple of weeks. Now, Cynthia Wolff with Beth Wolff Realtors. Cynthia, man, we've talked about a lot of things. It seems like Colorado came through in a lot of the segments. Let's tell people what else you want people to know about your company, Beth Wolff Realtors, or you, Cynthia Wolff.
I'd like people to know that Beth Wolff Realtors has been in business for 44 years and can help you with any of your real estate needs. We are the oldest locally owned real estate company in the city of Houston.
And that sounds good. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me at 970-901-8184 or Cynthia at bethwolff.com.
970-901-8184. Sounds pretty good.
Thank you.
Here is Matt Robertshaw, Fairway Mortgage. Matt, before we close the show down, what else do you want people to know about the money world?
I think everyone just needs to realize that as we're tightening up in this market, as interest rates start to rise, as the inventories, it just stays nice and low, you need to make sure that you're partnering with the right people so that you can posture yourself to be in a good situation when you're out buying a house. There's all these other, mass companies, but when it comes down to it, the people that are going to care most about you are the people that are here locally, wanting to make sure that you're getting your house in the right possible way.
Localized service right there.
Local
with
matters.
Matt Robertshaw. Matt, how can people reach you?
They can reach me at 281-889-0403. 281-889-0403 or matt.robertshaw@fairwaymc.com.
Thanks for being on the show. Here he is, Mr. Remodeling, Ismael with Ismael Remodeling. Ismael, here we go. I bet there's people that are already thinking, man, I need to call this guy for this, that, or the other thing. What else do you want people to know about your company?
Well, I just want to let them know that if they need anything, just give us a call. We'll be really happy to help them. And I forgot to mention the Facebook page as well if people want to know or see what we do, because people usually
You can see the before
ask
afters
themselves.
right there on the Facebook.
Correct. We put some pictures of the before and afters, and people really like to see what you have done before for other clients to feel comfortable having you working at their house.
No doubt about it. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can actually go to the Facebook page, Ismael Remodeling LLC, or call me at 832-267-2204.
That's 832-267-2204. Thanks for being on the show, and
Thank you,
thanks
Bill.
for doing awesome work. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik, right here together with John Bramblett, Tom Carpentier, Justin Ramirez, and Larry Warren, doing tremendous work at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening. Please tell your friends. Check us out once again at stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see the Western wear, all the guests right here on the past 416 shows. So thank you all for listening. Check us out next week. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart.com/radio. Stewart.com/radio.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.